We're just bringing this great looking tank locomotive out of the engine shed and up onto the turntable. This is the E2 and it's in London and Brighton and South Coast Railway livery. Absolutely gorgeous item. We'll just rotate that around and get it out onto the inside line. Now my model here is R353 from 1979, and the model changed its number to R315 in 1980 to 82, perhaps because it got a paint finish at that point. And there were a couple of other variants in the 80s, R261 in SR green in 82 to 84, and R157 in SR black in 1985. So we'll just roll through into the station approaches here. And we'll have to switch a few points, and we'll pick up the great southern liveried coaches R431 and 432 for the break. There we go, we've got a milk tank wagon on the back there for good measure, R015. I think these coaches were generally available between 77 and 79 as we see them here, but there were other variations on them which the numbers I'm not too sure of, going right up into the late 90s from what I've read. Didn't seem to have too much trouble with that diamond crossing. A lovely purr from the motor once she's underway too. So we'll run round past the water tower here, looking great. Past the fuel tanks, and we'll aim to bring her back through the point work and into the station, I think. Not experiencing too much trouble with the point work, so we'll run around and bring her to a stop just after the sort of over canopy. Great looking southern coaches and a Pullman there. We'll have a grand look at the rocket coaches as we bring her to a stop. And there's the box for the model. It's in fairly tatty condition and there is no paperwork, sadly. Face card picture is rather pretty though, isn't it? It has sort of done its job, and there's the polystyrene insert there that the model sits in. Chassis is fairly lovely, and those spokes on the wheels are all painted up in brown. Lovely plated wheels too. The bodywork's in fairly good condition. I don't think there are any missing parts, but there is the odd fingerprint in the varnish. It's definitely been handled a little in its time. It's got wire handrails there as well, with those little plugs holding it into the side. Fine handrails on the side of the cab doors too. Hornby's name there, R353, made in Great Britain. The odd mark in the bottom there where the cable's laid against the plastic work, I think. I think the cab detailing in there is just a separate part, just glued in by the looks of it. But fairly tidy. And there's the boxes for the coaches. They're in very nice condition, as are the coaches. Barely run, I think. Nice silver seal boxes. The milk tank wagon, United Dairies, R015. We just need to switch some points now that we left open before, and then we'll run out of the station. Great overhead view of the rocket there. Let's see how she does with this point work. Tiny stutter there on the curve point. And then we'll roll up to the crossover 2Y there, and we'll stop and change the points. Nice view under the elevated section there with all the supports. Nice clatter on the points, isn't there? I love that. Run around past the breakdown crane. Ginty there, 2021, sitting in the distance. I love this view above the girder bridge there and looking down on top of that lamp. And then we'll bring her gently to a stop just before more points we've left open. And we'll also open up the elevated section there. And we'll climb up onto the bridge just before the girder bridge, I think. Just above the engine sheds. I don't think she'll have any problem at all making her way up here. Absolutely effortless. You can see the seating units through the windows there. is such a lovely purr on the motor. Oh, there's a great view now across the shed roofs. And then a nice gentle stop. Well, I think that's probably it for the video today. This is actually the following day. The last two sort of main sections of video you've seen were shot over the previous 2 evenings, and I've just left it stopped up here on the elevated section overnight. I thought we'd have a quick look at the lining on these coaches. You can see they've got interior detail here. So I think these were 77 to 79, and there were variations of these made up into the late 90s, I think. Probably eventually getting a paint finish, but I think these are self-coloured plastic. And I say they are quite dark in colour. We've got this quite late version of the United Dairies milk tanker wagon, almost in its original form. I think this is a 74 to 76-ish one in a Hornby Railways box. I think we saw a little earlier on. But a fun little train. So I hope you've enjoyed that. We'll just have a quick glance at the old catalogue, I think. Let me just flip the camera around and we'll have a look at the catalogue. So we'll just move around slowly so we don't go too dizzy. And it's pouring with rain. I don't know whether you can hear the sound of the rain on the window there. So we're currently the 4th of December. There's the service sheet there. So it's got that slightly remodelled chassis which was used on the new versions of the Ginty, which came along in the late 70s. I think it's, to all intents and purposes, the same chassis. So it does have bearings instead of just axles through the chassis block. So it's a slightly smoother running model. Although, actually, on the rolling road, these tend to pop out. I think putting the body shell back on tends to hold these in place, or it does on this particular model. It's my experience with it. It's actually nicer running on the track than it is on the rolling road. So there we've got that's the model numbers for the later versions of the Ginty there. If we have a look in the catalogue here, we've got these two revised versions of the Ginty there, RO 58 and 52. And here we've got the E2 tank locomotive, London, Brighton and South Coast Railway. Lovely livery, and you can see it's a new model for that year. So we won't go wild with the catalogue, but let's just have a quick glance, I think, at the coaches. See if we can flip over to those. We've seen this catalogue before in the quite recent past, I think. We've got GWR coaches, LNERs. We've got these out on a railway at the moment. We've got those and those out on the railway at the moment. That one's been put back in the box because it's frustrating running with that. Is the experience I've had with it on this railway. There we go. We've got the southern coaches. I said I think the colour shifted over the years and variations were made up into the late 90s. I think it might have even had white rimmed wheels at some point as well. The ones I have silver seals on. So 431 the composite, 432 the brake. I suppose let's see if we've got a milk tanker wagon in the 79 catalogue. Whilst we're at it, quite lovely pictures there with the old Pullman, the family running to catch the train. Great big bag in hand. So nice little detail. So here we go, we've got the wagons. That's quite an impressive photograph, isn't it? There we go. I think that's I can't remember what year the United Dairies wagon sort of morphed into that. But as I say, I think that's probably it for this week. Some interesting additions to the wagons there, isn't there? These quite new, finer detailed wagons. But thanks again for watching. It's hugely appreciated. If you look back again next time, we'll have something else from the range to look at. Goodbye now.